friends, welcome to the channel Physics by IITians. Due to the students' demand that they are facing problems understanding quantum physics and they are facing problems in the interviews when they are asked question from quantum mechanics. So we will discuss the each and every physical aspect of in quantum mechanics and we will understand it deeply physically to face any question related to quantum mechanics. So welcome to the quantum world and this special interview series, and these are all made for you. So my heartily request, please watch the full video to have the essence of quantum mechanics. Now in this video we will basically focus on the uncertainty relation and we will understand the physics of wave function. What is a wave function? What is the meaning of Hilbert space? Why wave function is a complex quantity and how that complex quantity gives you the real solution of the Schrodinger equations. Okay, so in the latter part of the latter videos we will discuss about the basics or physics of superposition, physics of normalization, so we all understand the physics of the quantum mechanics. Now let's start the Schrodinger equation first. And to understand the Schrodinger equation, we have to take the Schrodinger's assistant. Okay, and his assistant is, yes, his cat. So do you know the Schrodinger himself could not explain the physics of wave function? Okay, yeah. And the realistic interpretation was given by Max Born. But Schrodinger hated that realistic interpretation that was given by Max Born. Okay. So before uh, going into details of the Schrodinger equation, we first understand the uncertainty principle. And this uncertainty principle was introduced first in 1927 by German physicist Werner Heisenberg. The uncertainty principle states that the more precisely the position of the particle is determined, the less precisely is its momentum, and the momentum can be predicted from is less precisely from the initial conditions and vice versa. So if you precisely measure the position, the momentum measurement will be less precise and the vice versa. And he gave this famous uncertainty relation, that is xp is greater than equal delta x delta p is greater than equals to h cross by 2, or sigma x sigma p is greater than equals to h cross by 2. And these relations or uncertainties are valid for the canonical conjugate variables. So we will understand what is canonical conjugate variables, but first we understand why should this momentum and position cannot be measured precisely simultaneously. Okay, so let us take a wave packet. Now you have to understand what is a wave packet. Wave packet is nothing but the superposition of waves having different wavelengths. This is suppose a wave 1, this is another wave, this is third, fourth, fifth. So they all are waves with different wavelengths. And now if you superpose, if you add these waves, you will get a wave packet. And this superposition of different wavelengths is necessary to localize the position of the particle. And the wider spread of wavelengths contributes to the smaller delta x. Okay, so this the spread, that is delta x, and now this is the wave packet. This continuous distribution of wavelengths can produce a localized wave packet where the spread in the wavelength, that is delta x. Now from de Broglie wavelength, that p equals to h by lambda. Now the Heisenberg principle uncertainty tells you that the widespread in the wavelength, that is it will contribute to the smaller delta x. And so if you somehow measure the x very precisely, you cannot measure the p simultaneously, and if you somehow measure the p very precisely, you cannot measure the position or x. So there is some inbuilt uncertainty in between them. So look here, this picture will show you, or this video will give you the understanding that how position and momentum are delocalized. Or look here, the momentum whenever it is precisely defined, the position is delocalized or is spreading higher, and if the position is fixed, the momentum is spreading. Okay, so that is the direct consequence of Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Okay, so you understand this video, I think. Now we will go to the next slide, that is we talked about canonically conjugate variables. So the canonically conjugate variables cannot be measured simultaneously, precisely, at any arbitrary precision. What are canonically conjugate variables? These conjugate variables are pair of variables that is mathematically defined in such a way that they become Fourier transform duals, or more generally are related to Pontryagin duality. These are all mathematical theorems here, okay? And these duality relations lead naturally to an uncertainty relation, and in physics, this is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, okay? So the Fourier transform of one variable will lead to the Fourier transform of that another variable. So let us take a signal in the form of a cosine wave or in a single monochromatic wave having a particular frequency. What will be the Fourier transform? This is simply a single line, okay, and this single line will be in the frequency domain. If you take a sinc function as a Fourier transform, you get uniform band of frequencies. If you take a Gaussian packet, wave packet, this will also give you a Gaussian wave in the Fourier space. Now if you take double exponential, this will give a Lorentzian wave packets, Lorentzian function. These are all important in quantum mechanics, okay? So now we understand what is the wave function. Now wave function is a vector. Now which vector it is? It is not a real vector, okay? It is not an imaginary vector. It is a complex vector. That is, complex means it has both the real part as well as the imaginary part. So a and b, but a and b are real function. So the complex conjugate of psi, that is psi star, is psi equals to a minus ib. So mod of psi square will be psi star psi, that is a square minus I square b square, which gives you a square plus b square. So this mod of psi square is a positive real quantity, and this is the Max Born interpretation of the Schrodinger wave function, that it gives you the probability of that wave function of that particle of particularly finding within a space, okay? So which Schrodinger actually could not accept at that moment. So now you have to understand how can you understand this wave function and which space we should assume. Suppose we are taking a normal Cartesian coordinate system. So any point in the Cartesian coordinate system will be described as x, y, z. So if you want to denote it by a vector, so you take the vector from the origin to the point and you give the coordinates as x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. Similarly, the wave function that is psi, it will be in the Hilbert space, and the Hilbert space of infinite dimensions. Okay, so there are many axes, and you can give this wave function in terms of the coordinates in the Hilbert space. Okay. So now we will understand why the wave function is complex. Means it contains an imaginary number. Okay. So first we have to understand that we are talking about the real particles. We are talking about the real waves. So why we are taking the imaginary quantities? What is the meaning? It is not imaginary at all, because you are seeing that atoms, electrons, the protons, you are observing it. So it should be real. But why in this wave function we are taking imaginary quantities? Actually, don't think about the wave function. It will not give you any measurement. It is not physically reliable, or it is not physically measurable. The information it has, but you have to do something on it, and then only you can get some information. Okay, so we will understand what we have to do, but before that we have to understand why these wave functions are imaginary. Because, so we take some real wave function first. Okay, So we take some real wave function and we try to solve the Schrodinger equation, and we are unable to achieve any reasonable solution. I have also done it on the free particle lecture wave function free particle. Please watch that video. That we are taking continuously some real waves, and we don't take the imaginary parts, but we cannot achieve any well defined wave function. So we have to take the real imaginary wave function to get a reasonable solution of Schrodinger equation. And why is it complex? It is based on the fact the energy equation which relates the first power of the total energy to the second power of the momentum. So this is our Schrodinger equation, that is minus h cross square by twice m del square plus v of psi equals to I h cross del t of psi. Here this is the power, that the energy, total energy, that is the first power of the total energy, and this is the second order power or second power of momentum. This is kinetic energy, this is potential energy, this is total energy. So look here, this is based here on this equation that wave function has to be complex. Now, how to understand this complex wave function? You don't think about the complex wave function. You just think a vector which is in the complex plane. And how do you represent? You will represent any psi, that is the complex vector. It will have a real part, it will have an imaginary part. So psi can be represented like this. This is the complex plane where the axis, this is u, this shows you the real part, and this gives you v, the imaginary part. Okay, so observe the diagram thoroughly. Now in the next videos we will understand the cat is dead or alive, and we also have an announcement. If you want to evaluate your test performance, you can join our test series according to your scheme. The cost has been kept minimum for your convenience. It only costs 700 for 15 tests, 500 for 10 tests, and 200 for 5 tests. So you can join in the progress. So don't forget to like and share the video. Thanks for watching it, and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you.